President Duterte did not compel Bureau of Corrections Chief Nicanor Faeldon to attend Monday's Senate investigation on the Good Conduct Time Allowance or GCTA law. But Faeldon appeared anyway. At the hearing, Senator Panfilo Lacson presented what he claims is a release order for convicted rapist and murderer Antonio Sanchez. Faeldon admitted he signed the said document but claimed it was not a release order, only a memorandum for release.
So this is not a release order?
Stop the process of the release. I signed that document, the memorandum of release. But that is not the release order because after my office, it goes to several other offices. And finally, it will go to the superintendent who issues the final release order.
Faeldon said he also believes that Sanchez should not be freed on the basis of the GCTA law.
Almost 1 week, I contested that why are we releasing prisoners like Sanchez?
But senators were able to point out during the inquiry that even while Faeldon claims he only signed a memo and not a release order, he still has a last say and authority on who among the convicted prisoners will be freed based on the GCTA law.
Hindi maaaring ibaliktad ng superintendent yung iyong memorandum of release order.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So ibig sabihin, kayo talaga po ang mayroong kapangyarihan at yung memorandum of release order ay, kumbaga, yun ang susi. Yung release order ay susunod na lamang dun sa memorandum of release.
Yes, sir.
Senator Lacson also presented the document dated August 16, 2019, signed by BuCor's Deputy Director General Maria Fe Marquez. Faeldon confirmed that based on the said memo, 3 of the convicted murderers in the Chong rape slay case were also freed. They are Josman Aznar, Ariel Balansag, and Alberto Caño. The decision was also based on the GCTA law. Senator Risa Ontiveros threw a direct question to Faeldon.
Kailan po kayo magre-resign sa inyong pwesto bilang BuCor head? USEC.
I respect the question of the Honorable Chairman.
And
but I would defer that question to the appointing authority.
do you believe that you're doing a good job, USEC?
Yes, ma'am.
Palas on Sunday maintains Faeldon still enjoys the confidence and trust of President Duterte. The chief implementer of the Good Conduct Time Allowance or GCTA law, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara, says the law is a bit confusing on whether individuals convicted of heinous crimes like murder and rape could benefit from GCTA. During the Senate hearing, Guevara says a provision in the Republic Act 10592 states that all sentenced prisoners are covered by the GCTA law, while another provision says the law should not cover those who committed heinous crimes.
Had it been a sole provision by itself, one entire section stand alone that says that habitual delinquents, recidivists, escapees, and persons convicted of heinous crimes or charged with heinous crimes are not covered by the benefits under this act, then probably there would be no confusion.
But after the agency revisited the law, Guevara says they agree that prisoners who committed heinous crimes should not benefit from GCTA. So senators ask, what is the proper course for the prisoners freed based on GCTA law, especially those who were charged with heinous crimes?
Pwede ba natin silang i-recall? O pwede ba natin considered sila as wanted? O pwede bang shoot to kill?
Considering that maybe constitutional issues may be involved here and interests of both sides have to be considered and balanced, I'd rather not make a comment at this time until a more thorough study on how to deal with the problem.
Senator Bato de la Rosa meanwhile admits that during his time as BuCor chief, he also signed several release orders based on GCTA law.
120 lang ang napirmahan ko. But out of those 120 na pinirmahan ko, isa lang dyan yung convicted ng RA 6425, Dangerous Drugs Act. Isa lang po ang napirmahan ko. Lahat dyan ay rape, murder, robbery.
Lacson, for his part, also asked the current BuCor leadership on why they released drug convicts, including Taiwanese drug lord Chen Chang, who was freed from the Davao Penal Colony. The regional superintendent meanwhile explains he was just obeying orders from the memo signed by Faeldon. Senator Bongo says heads must roll.
Alam nyo si
Faeldon, under po siya ng executive, BuCor. Ibig po sabihin ni Pangulong Duterte, managot ang dapat managot, including the top to bottom. Sino po yung nakalusot sa kanila ay dapat manakat.
The Senate will continue its probe tomorrow. Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
And still, on the GCTA system, which benefited almost 2,000 inmates, the Philippine National Police says it is willing to execute warrantless arrests on those convicted of heinous crimes but released since 2013. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde says they will dispatch tracker teams to monitor the inmates whom he says could be considered fugitives if their rearrest is ordered. Albayalde admits, however, that there is as yet no standard protocol even between the PNP and the Bureau of Corrections regarding the potential rearrest of released convicts.
Wala pa talaga tayong protocol na established protocol na kapag nag-release yung BuCor ay ini-informan yung PNP, particularly those who are involved in heinous crimes and also yung mga drug trafficking cases. No? Siguro after this, more or less, as we have said earlier, magkaroon tayo ng isang focal person, isang officer that would liaise with the BuCor and Department of Justice.
Iluminada Gomez sat next to Clara Sarmenta at Monday's hearing of the Good Conduct Time Allowance or GCTA. They were with family and supporters who, like them, disapproved the release from prison of the murderer of Alan and Eileen more than 20 years ago. Both mothers watched as government officials scrambled to explain why a man like former Mayor Antonio Sanchez could avail of the law. At one point in the hearing, Eileen Sarmenta's mother Clara caved in to her emotions.
Sakit kasi sa dibdib ko yung manumbalik yung nangyari sa anak ko noong 1993. Kaya ako ganito. Sa totoo lang po, araw-araw, gabi-gabi, nanginginig po ako every time I see Sanchez on the TV. Natatawa-tawa pa siya, mga ganun.
Alan's mother, Iluminada, was more worried about the security of her family, especially that her other son was interviewed by the media recently.
I only wish that OJ would not have surfaced at all because there has been some destabilization attempts long before.
Sanchez, who has shown no sign of remorse, refuses to indemnify the victims' families. The mothers ask, how could someone who has not reached out to ask forgiveness and pay for what he has wrought become qualified for release? Iluminada, 73 years old and ailing, was later brought to a hospital. Clara stayed on. She admits to consulting a specialist anew to help her unload the burden in her chest. She said she favors the commutation of sentence of prisoners under the GCTA law, except for those involved in heinous crimes. Brought about by her emotions before, Clara confirmed joining rallies for the reimposition of the death penalty. But she later realized that Sanchez is better off alive to pay for his sins the rest of his life in jail.
Mas gusto ko pa yun makita na nagsasuffer siya. Hindi naman ako sadista, but maano sa loob mo na yung kanyang hatol ay panghabang buhay.
For News 5, Ria Fernandez, we are One News.